Is there anything specific you want to know about Guardian tanks?
Well, Antoine is definitely he's newer to the PvP scene, and we've been working with him. But for most of us, we don't have any Guardian tanks in PvP, so I've been kind of unhelpful for him. I don't know if you want to just kind of go over like the cornerstone abilities, the do's and don'ts for, and maybe talk a little bit about gearing, work through the disciplines, and just kind of touch up there.
Well, let's see if Antoine's there, even. Antoine, you there?
I don't see him in channel.
I didn't see him.
No. I guess he logged off. Never mind.
Give me a sec, let me go log on my Guardian.
Vey?
Nah, he's still logged in, Pops. We're in Atheist right now.
Oh, okay.
I just told him to get back in TeamSpeak. Said he's on his way.
And Vey, would you have any utility out of a discussion on that?
I just have the gear stuff.
Okay. What about maybe DPS?
I'm mostly shield and absorb, so I don't really DPS too much on this, so I don't know what I would ask about that.
User joined your channel.
What's up, guys?
There he is. Hey, we're going to cover Guardian tanking for PvP.
English is not his first language, so you may need to speak a little bit slower so he understands what you're saying and stuff.
No problem. I sent you a whisper, Zal.
Hold on, let me. Was doing a flashpoint with Buddha. Let me get off this and go back over there.
It's not letting me. How do I do the character?
I honestly forgot.
Oh.
Know the characters for my own name. Yeah, sorry, it's 0224. That's for the A. Wanna start it off, Sendo? Alright, what's up?
So Guardian has always been my main for PvP. It's my only class that I have Valor 100 on. I originally started out DPSing on a Guardian, and when I got introduced to Ranked, I started tanking back in the day whenever they first brought 8v8 to the game. So I'm a big proponent of Guardian tanks in 8v8, and I think they have a lot of good use in 4v4 as well. But the only thing that I would caution you against is the ability to be controlled by controlling. As a tank, as a Guardian tank, you're far less mobile than any other tank, because the Vanguard has hold the line and the Shadow has 4 speed. We don't have any abilities that help us move, so to speak. We have leap, but we're not really moving where our character goes. We have to go wherever our destination target is if we're going to use it, which sometimes isn't beneficial for us. Your biggest angle with Guardian tank, honestly, is Guardian leap. Utilizing that effectively is huge, because unlike the other tanks, the Guardian tank has the ability to mitigate more damage that his target is taking than any other class. By utilizing Guard, Guardian leap, and taunt,
Yeah, I'm listening.
you can effectively reduce the damage that person's taking from a single target almost completely. If I'm going to guard Serotonin, can't guard you. I'm gonna guard Bale here on Didac. I have my guard on him. I can.
Let me get back to the chip. Hold on.
Okay.
Give me a second, please.
Oh, sorry.
So many questions. I know this is my first character in this game, and I know the language is a barrier, but I'll try to stay focused and listen.
No big deal, man. If you have questions, I'll gladly will try to answer them, and hopefully we're helpful.
What I do when I start the fight like duel is force leap and then stun master strike, because that's the moment that I think I can use that because they're immobilized. Otherwise, I'm trying to find them around because Guardian are slow. And it takes time, so if you have any pointers about that?
Yeah, I would caution trying to master strike immediately. Mostly because at the beginning of a fight, the classes that can get out of your master strike will have that ability active,
User
and they
disconnected
haven't
from your
used
channel.
it yet. So I would leap in, and if I see them pop
User
hold the
left your
line
channel.
or force speed or something, I know immediately I'm not going to be able to get my master strike off, and it's going to be a wasted ability. So usually, what I would try to do if I were you is save your force stasis and your master strike for another point in the fight where they may have already used their CC break and they're not going to get out of your force stasis immediately. And that point, you're assured that they're going to eat the whole master strike. And that's the biggest part of your damage rotation as a guardian.
I see what you mean. So I force leap, go hit, hilt, badge, stun them. They're gonna use the whatever release the from me holding them.
Yep.
User joined your channel.
Then in the middle of the fight, use force stasis, and then use my master strike.
Absolutely, yeah. Another technique you could use is if you don't have your stuns up and you're at a point and you have master strike off cooldown, you can always hit freezing force, which will slow them by 50% and keep them from getting out of range of your master strike before you get it all off.
I always keep forgetting about that one, but that doesn't work. It does work?
Yes, if you hit freezing force, it will slow them down and they'll just start walking instead of running out of your master strike, and they definitely won't make it 8 meters before the 3-second channel is done.
So, I'm sorry to bother you, but let me get a piece of paper so I can write perfect rotations to start, whatever.
Okay.
Antoine, I'm also streaming this, so don't feel pressured to get everything down because I can give you the link to my stream and I'll make a highlight video. You can always go back and rewatch it.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
So if you just want to focus on getting the information out and that you need, and then you can come back later and write it down for you.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Are you here yet, Antoine?
Wrong hanger.
There he is. All right, Antoine.
Real quick, wait. As far as ranked gear priority,
What were you saying, Greaves?
sorry, what I suggest, like for Shadow, like I saved up grab my main hand just because because it was, you know, such an expensive item. But after that, would you go with relics and earpieces and things like that?
Yes. Typically, unless you just have an abundance of comms, you want to go for your relics first because they give you a lot of benefit and raw stats. The procs from them are super beneficial because they almost always happen off of the proc limiter. And after that, you would want to get your implants and earpieces because the raw stats are more beneficial than what you would be getting from armor pieces. And after you get pretty much your implants, earpiece, and relics, you should shoot for your weapons because those are the next largest stat increase. And from
Okay.
there, it really doesn't matter what you go with. You could, if you're just looking for quick armor and a few stats, you could get your belt and bracers relatively easy, or you could go right into your head, chest, pants, and feet, and arms.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, I'm here. Sorry.
No big deal.
Antoine, I'm going to duel you. That way you can practice your rotation. I'm not going to fight back, so you can take all the time you need. Just go through it slowly, and so you can learn it. And then, if you want to give him a couple pointers while he's doing it.
Sure.
First of all, before I click yes, first of all, should I force sleep? Then stun him?
Saber throw first. Saber throw before you leap in. It's a 30-meter attack that's going to do around 2 to 3k damage, and then you can force leap in.
I was told not to before, but okay.
User left your channel.
The only time I wouldn't saber throw first is if I'm against another guardian or sentinel, because I don't want them to leap to me before I leap to them, if at all possible.
Now makes sense. Okay, okay. So you're a shadow, so
So for tank relics, would you go with like fortunate or reactive warding? I assume you'd leave out fortunate redoubt because of the defense.
For relics, I would pick up the main stat and the power relic.
Because 2 of the 3 tanking relics will give you defense as a passive, which is useless, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Which means I need to buy the Zoom stuff again.
The only relic that's for tanking that might be beneficial is the one that absorbs raw damage, and that's debatable as well. If you're doing ABA, I would say it's worth it. If you're doing ranked, I would take the pressure damage over the absorbed damage. Because in an ABA, you're tanking and guarding so many people that you might find yourself in a situation where you're getting more pressure than you're used to, so you would want to absorb whatever damage you can. Vice and Arena, it's a little bit more manageable for one healer to kill 3 people, so you don't really need that absorption.
Gotcha.
And it's more important to have the pressure damage and the procs on your main stat and your power stat.
Makes sense.
But right off the bat, Antoine, something I noticed is that you seem really apt to stun them right away. I would try to immediately use my warding strike and guardian slash if I could, just because it gives you your damage reduction immediately. And in a real duel, you gotta remember, as soon as you leap to him, he's gonna start trying to DPS you too, so you wanna get your DR up immediately. So when you leap in, your first attack should be warding strike, just for your DR. And then at that point, I would probably move into guardian slash.
I'm gonna surrender duel, heal up, and then I'll let you duel me, and you can chew this character up as a. That way he can come back and watch what you're doing.
Yep.
Please.
Can I duel?
Yeah, you can duel him if you want.
Are you tank spec? Okay. Are you tank spec right now?
I'm in tank spec, but I'm using DPS care.
Okay. Well, I already did.
Another question. Another question. Which stance should be in on my Soresu? I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah, so it's his stance is your tank stance.
So if I'm gonna open on Zalus, like I said before, the first thing I would do is throw my saber at him, and then leap in immediately, bash, Guardian Slash, and move into warding or Blade Storm, because if he is doing damage to me, you can see the barrier it puts around me, and it's gonna absorb any damage he tries to put on me. Keeping this up as much as possible is crucial, because as you can see, he's not doing any damage to me while I have it. You can also notice I didn't immediately push him again because I really don't need to. At that point, Force Sleep is on about a 14-second cooldown for tanks because of the alacrity we get with our gear. So by the time the initial fight kind of sets in, I probably used enough to just wait it out until I can push him, leap to him, when I'm looking more to control him than I am to do damage. Stasis is a better ability to use for Master Strike because of animation delay. Heal Strike, as you can see, is a much slower ability to use and activate as Stasis is because of the animation.
Been having issues with that.
Aside from that, Guardian is probably the best 1v1 class in the game. Like,
Yeah.
the only classes that should really beat them are classes that can stealth out and heal back up. That's really the only reason you should ever lose a duel. But if they don't stealth out and heal back up, you shouldn't lose. Unless it's a healer, obviously. All healers are going to beat people in 1v1s because they can just keep healing and wither you down. But it's just going to be a really long, annoying duel.
Here's another question. I have focus defense, and it will let me use it until halfway of my health.
Yep.
But should I use it half health or by 25?
25. The reason for that is because if you're a tank, you should have a significant amount of health, and it's going to give you ticks of healing based on the damage you're taking. So if you use it, say, right at 70% when you can, you may not be getting all of the heals out of it that you could, because it'll be ticking and you'll already be back to max health.
So I use it at 25 then.
Yes. Because at 10 charges, it could potentially heal you for, around 20,000 HP. And if your healer's doing his job healing you too, you might not be getting some of the use out of it. So I usually wait for focus defense and pop that around 25% health.
So it depends on the percentage.
Well, the focus defense does not depend on the percentage of health that you have, because it's going to heal you for 2k every tick. It has 10 charges. It'll tick 10 times, which is the 10 seconds if you absorb all 10 charges.
Another question. at what time I use my Enur? I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I only pop
Indir.
Anir whenever I'm also around 25% health, but I always couple Anir with a med pack. If I'm gonna pop Anir, it increases my health, my max health by 30%. And if you read your med pack, it says it immediately restores 35% of your max health. And when you have Anir, you're actually at 130%. So you're receiving a 35% heal of 130% of your health. So it's a huge heal for you. And that's the benefit of having a Guardian tank vice the other tanks as well, is that they require less attention than the other tanks would. A Guardian can heal himself quite effectively, as opposed to a Vanguard or a Shadow who would absolutely need the healer to get him back up if he was ever at 25% health. The Guardian doesn't. He can say, hey, I'm at 25% health, but don't sweat it, popping my cooldowns, and the healer knows, okay, I can continue to focus on, you know, the DPS or whatever else he's doing.
Oh, that combo I didn't know. That's pretty cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Did you learn something?
Few things. Might take a while to figure it out, but I just learned something. The med with the Enur is a big help.
Oh, no worries. By the way, this is Antoine, the one that Ryder has faced in the grueling PvP battle that started that whole forum mess.
No worries, no worries. Ryderis is a scrub. You don't gotta worry about him.
Can all agree on that one.
Alright, so...
If you're giving out critiques, can you give another Guardian a look?
Sure.
Okay, that doesn't
wanna-
mean now. Somebody was starting something else, but in a second.
Well, no, it can be now. Whoever that was, go ahead and duel me, Zalis, and then you can do your rotation on me.
Can you duel back for extra critique?
Yeah.
Says you're already in a duel.
So you can see he didn't get his full Master Strike off there, which was good on Zalis's part. Now he's gonna use his push. Nice. Good job.
I barely clicked the end of it.
You can see Didact here is doing a good job of keeping his Blade Storm up, which is probably his biggest mitigating factor for taking damage. So if you're tank spec, you want to constantly use Blade Storm. And here, in this one, since you can't get out of it, that would have been a perfect time to pop your phase walk.
Yeah, I didn't even have it set.
Holy mother of God, that was an awesome fight.
Yeah, the phase walk would have been the big difference there. If you would have been able to pop that and get out of it, you probably would have won that duel. Or you could have stealthed out.
That's a good fight, man. Thanks.
Hey, did you see what I threw up in Officer's channel, Gober?
I haven't checked yet.
Well, scroll up. It's a little bit behind you.
Fuck off, leave me alone.
Alright, who was wanting to...
Serotonin.
Gotcha. Light damage on you?
User joined your channel.
just right there instead of going into your stun. You probably could have force pushed him again to save your stun for another point if you needed to stun him to keep him from doing that, for instance. And it also probably would have prevented him from receiving full resolve.
Force push him and then leap on him.
Yep.
Yeah, is there any way to mitigate or to help manage resolve better?
Yes. That's what I'm getting at. Like, resolve is based on regardless of how long the person is stunned, it's based on the max duration of the stun. So if you use, say, awe, it's a really long stun, so it's gonna give them almost full resolve. And if you do any kind of stun to them immediately after awe, they're gonna receive full resolve. So a good way to mitigate that is to use things like your freezing force or something like that that will help you control them at the same time, prevent them from getting resolve, and allow their meter to start ticking back down, so you can keep stuns on them more often without them having white bar.
Gotcha. So for something like a shadow, spinning kick obviously is low resolve.
Yes.
The force wave,
Yes.
stun, and then of course pinning or force stun itself is probably gonna be your longest and highest resolve builder.
Well, your force lift is your highest resolve builder.
Oh, force lift, right? Okay.
Yeah. Anytime you use force lift, you can expect that they're gonna receive full resolve. So sometimes if I notice their resolve meter is almost full, and there's a chance that they've already used their CC break, I would want to go ahead and use my force lift in, because they're gonna get full resolve anyway, regardless of who stuns them, whether I use force kick or force stun or whatever. And if I can potentially have them in a 8-second stun throughout all of that, their force or their resolve meter is ticking down while they're in that stun for the 8 seconds or 6 seconds or however long it is.
Okay.
But it's always risky using something like force lift or awe on someone who has no resolve at all, because you're going to put them pretty high in their resolve meter by using it, and the next stun they get, regardless of what stun, is probably going to put them at full resolve.
Actually, I don't use that at all because I seen that happen to me before.
Your resolve meter is something that you as a player should be aware of too, and it sometimes affects when you use your CC breaker. If I have full resolve, like, that's kind of a good time depending on the stun. Like if I get put in a force lift or something like that that I know is going to put me out of the game for a while, I will immediately break it, you know, because I'm going to have resolve after that, and I'm in no threat of being re-CC'd. But let's say I'm at full resolve and Shadow Force kicks me. Well, I'm not going to waste my CC break ever on a force kick because it's only a 2-second stun. So if you ever see someone do that, it's an opportunity for you to get really like excited, because it's like, oh, you wasted your CC break on my force kick. So now you know that you can just make him sit in a full force lift if you so choose. Just a mental note for you to keep in the back of your head.
So another question, combat focus does work?
Yes, combat focus is very good for you. The good thing about combat focus is that if you ever find yourself in a position where you want to maximize your ability to put out damage, you would want to utilize that, because you have abilities like riposte and slash that give that severely impact your focus management as a tank. But if you're trying to maximize your damage for a period of time, you could utilize combat focus and start smashing on them with Blaze Storm, riposte, slash, whatever you have up. But generally speaking, you're probably not going to have a lot of focus management problems as a tank, because you get so much focus from being attacked.
Yeah, my problem is I still think as NPC and I don't know how to say it. Like I'm playing with a regular enemy, so I do my rotation the same way. So I think I need to change that, right?
Your rotation's always going to be dependent on who you're fighting, and I think it just comes with experience with playing those other classes. Sometimes if I'm like playing a class that's really got good burst DPS, when I first force leap into them, while I'm in my force leap, I'll pop Saber Ward because the time that it takes me to get to my target, Saber Ward activates for free in between that time, and I can go right into my attack rotation still, and I've activated a defensive cooldown that's going to protect me from a lot of damage right away.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. All right. Anyways, I'm gonna watch the video later on, so.
You can see this duel starting with me and him kind of using LOS to prevent the other person from getting off.
You guys about to duel?
But here's the funny thing: why people hide?
Because it's important for the beginning of the fight and the way that it's going to go, because who gets this first leap off here has a lot of impact on the way the fight's going to go.
Oh, I guess I have to change the way that I fight in real life and in this game.
Yeah, you have to be able to use the environment around you. It's you can literally make or break a 1v1 battle in PvP.
As you can see here.
Oh, you pulled that.
Dude, I didn't even see you fly up in the air like that, dude.
Yeah, I was doing full screen, kind of recording you guys like a camera, and all of a sudden you disappeared.
Yeah, so like a couple things like I'll mention, like with like our 1v1 duel here, because this is specific to whoever gets the first leap. Generally speaking, first leap tends to have like the advantage point or more of the offensive foot to like put in pressure on the enemy. The thing is, like, when you fight not just a guardian, but let's just say any other class, for example, the first thing I'd always advise to you is try to burst and put your pressure on them as much as possible. And then it's almost like a counter system, and I'll tell you what I mean by this statement. I used to fight a lot of infiltration assassins a lot, and you know how those classes can burst you down with their auto crits and then reopen on you. Something that I found like sort of useful is when I fight them, I try to initiate first, get the hang on them, and then I'll immediately pop my Saber Reflect so that they can't do any damage to me as I'm trying to burst them through their damage. When the time is right, it's just a matter of timing your stuns and timing your cooldowns. So like, if you look at my buff bar right now, in about 4 seconds, I'm gonna pop Saber Ward. I'm gonna pop it. So you're gonna see like one of my buffs pop up, which is, what is it called again? Yeah, you're gonna see my blade turning buff pop up. This is one of those important buffs. You always want to try to time it correctly, because with 100% defense at one given point in time, you can technically mitigate or dodge potentially a devastating attack on yourself. And it's all about timing certain defensive cooldowns and how you play against other classes. So like for example, I'll go back to the Shadow tanking deal with Shroud or Resilience. If you fight against like a power deck that's gonna try to burst you down, if you see the burst coming on you and you can sort of anticipate it with shoulder cannon, or you can see like assault plastique or sticky grenade on you, you can shroud that and unleash your burst at them. And then if you did take the Shroud of Resilience talent in your heroic tier, if you see them trying to reopen up on burst again, you can immediately combat out just to shroud that burst and reopen up again and fight your opponent. It's taking one of those defensive cooldowns and using it offensively to put pressure on somebody that tries to beat you up, whether it's in a 1v1 duel or an arena setting. Yeah, sometimes like some of our defensive cooldowns, like I don't just use them just to like stay defensive and like hide and protect teammates all the time. I might use, say, for example, I might jump into an arena and start the battle, and then they all try to burst me, instead of like popping like invincible and mitigate all their damage, I might pop Saber Reflect and try to push damage against them. It's how you play and how you turn the battlefield to your cause, and obviously it's that type of stuff that takes a lot of practice and a lot of patience to get down. Yeah, so that's really it for me.
Does anybody else have any more questions on Guardian? Or Jedi Knights?
Oh, I'm gonna watch the video later on because I'm getting a little bit drunk, but thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.